It would help if I turned on the microphone. Good morning and welcome to the March 3rd meeting of the Cobb County Planning Commission. Our chairwoman is not here today. She's managing a retreat. So my name is Deborah Dance and I'll be presiding as vice chair. So I think right today we don't have an invocation. And so if we could rise and pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and I'll turn this over to Mr. Peterson. Thank you.
And thank you, Madam Vice Chair and Board. Today's hearing will be conducted with the following process and procedure. Each case will be called in numerical order. When the case is called, we would ask that the applicant please stand and raise their hand to show they are in attendance. After that, we're going to call to see if there's anyone here opposed to that specific case. We would also ask that the opposition please stand and raise their hand so that they can be counted for the official record. After recognizing the applicant and any opposition, both parties will be asked to come forward to be sworn in. The applicant will testify first, and then the opposition, if any, will testify second. It's important to note that each side only gets 10 minutes to state their case or concerns. There's not a rebuttal process, and there's not a process to reserve your time. So please convey all your information to the board within your 10-minute time period. Additionally, if there's more than one person who wishes to speak on a case, you may want to coordinate with each other about what you're going to talk about, because each side only gets 10 minutes, and you don't want to cover the same information over and over. After that, the board will start to discuss the case at hand. From the discussion, they may ask one or more people to come forward, to come back to the podium to answer questions or to make comments. Then the board will make a decision to either approve, deny, hold, or continue the case at hand. There are 3 cases on today's printed agenda which have been continued, and these cases will not be heard today. First case is rezoning case Z27 of 2025, Knight Partners LLC. This case was continued by the staff until the April 7th, 2026 Planning Commission zoning hearing. So Z27 of 2025 will not be heard today. Rezoning case Z4 of 2026, Field Time Athletics LLC. This case was held by the Planning Commission until the April 7th, 2026 Planning Commission zoning hearing. So Z4 of 2026 will not be heard today. And finally, SLEP 1 of 2026, Dane Contracting LLC. This case was continued by the staff until the April 7th, 2026 Planning Commission zoning hearing. So SLEP 1 of 2026 will not be heard today. Before we begin the hearing, I would like to ask the folks in today's audience, if you have a cell phone, please turn the volume off on your phone. When the phones ring, it does interfere with the broadcast and presentations. And I want to remind applicants, opposition, or any interested party that information is due to this board the Wednesday prior to this hearing. Any information submitted after the Wednesday due date may or may not be considered by the board at their discretion. And with that, Madam Chair and Board, I'm ready to start the consent agenda. Cobb County Planning Commission zoning hearing consent agenda for February 3rd, 2026. First case on consent is rezoning case Z9 of 2026, Kopecki CRE Holdings LLC. Request rezoning from GC to LI for a contractor in land lot 292 of the 17th District. The property is located on the east side of West Atlanta Street, south of South Cobb Drive. The Planning Commission recommends approval, subject to the following conditions. Number one, site plan received by the zoning division on January 2nd, 2026, with the district commissioner approving minor modifications. Number two, existing exterior signage to be removed or brought into compliant, or brought into a state of good repair and made code compliant. Number three, no outside storage of equipment within 35 feet of the right-of-way and 5 feet from the side or rear property lines. Number four, incidental storage of materials to be within enclosed portion of the principal structure or within a permitted accessory structure. Number five, all vehicles be parked in a striped and paved space. Number six, fire department comments and recommendations. Number seven, stormwater management division comments and recommendations. Number eight, water and sewer division comments and recommendations. And number nine, Department of Transportation comments and recommendations. The applicant is present. Is there anyone here opposed to rezoning case Z9? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Next case is LEP 5 of 2026, Early Education LLC. Request a temporary land use permit renewal for a daycare in land lots 50, 51, 94, and 95 of the 17th district. The property is located on the west side of Hurt Road, south of Heron Drive. The Planning Commission recommends approval for 24 months, subject to the maximum number of students permitted by state and fire codes. Is the applicant present? Is the applicant here for LEP 5, Early Education LLC? Is there anyone here opposed to this case? Madam Vice Chair and Board, the applicant is not present. Would it be the board's desire just to do this one on consent since it's a renewal? Yes. Okay. All right, and that completes your consent agenda, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair and Board.
Is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
Wrong button, I second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. I call the question.
Any discussion?
Any discussion?
No.
Thank you. The motion passes 4-0. Can you proceed now, Mr. Peterson?
Yes, ma'am. Okay, moving into the held and continued case agenda. First case we're going to hear today is rezoning case 1 of 2026, Francisco J. Garcia Sanchez, requests a rezoning from R20 to LI for a tree service in land lot 133 of the 16th district. The property is located at the western terminus of Elnora Drive, west of Shallowford Road. Is the applicant present? Yes. Let the record show the applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to rezoning case Z1? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Would the applicant please come forward to be sworn in?
Hey, good morning. I'm Francisco. I'm his son, and I'm going to be helping him translate today. He speaks Spanish and, English and understands most of it, but not 100%, and we just want to make sure that everything is understood fully.
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, my name is Francisco. Yeah, I'm Francisco's dad. So,
Okay, very good. You can proceed now. If you want to state your case.
yes.
Okay, go ahead and proceed. And if you'll step forward, and whoever's speaking at the time, if you'll step forward to the microphone, that's helpful.
Excuse me, what was that?
I said it's time for the presentation of this case, so if he can go ahead and tell you what he wants to say, and then whoever's speaking, if they'll step forward to the microphone.
Ya estamos aquí sobre la siguiente cita que nos dieron de hoy, pues que ya la propiedad está como nos dijeron, que esperamos que todo esté bien.
Yeah, so last time we came, he was asked to clean the property out, and I think he had some cars all over the place and just tires and stuff sitting around, and we did all that, and now we're back to hear what you guys have to say.
Okay, and this is his opportunity to let us know anything else that we need to know about this case.
¿Qué es tu oportunidad para decir algo más que quieras decir sobre el caso?
Pues no, que solamente para pues que espero y todo esté bien y que espero que nos den la oportunidad de darnos el approval.
Yeah, he just says he hopes that everything is like you guys asked, and he hopes to get the approval.
Okay, and if that's what you have to say right now, we can call you back up later and ask you further questions. But is there anything else you want to say during your portion of the case?
No,
He said, no, that's it.
Okay, y'all can have a seat then. And was there no opposition, is that correct? Okay, maybe I was too early to say they could have a seat. Excuse me, Mr. Sanchez, is that right? Could y'all come back forward? I'm sorry. I'm just going to go, this is in District 3. I'm the commissioner for District 3, so I think that I interacted with you the last time, and so I'm going to be asking you questions, but then the board is also able to ask you questions. So if I can ask you some more particulars, the last time we had a discussion, we talked about the vehicles, we talked about cleanup. So can you specifically let us know what was done since the time of our last hearing to this hearing?
ok, dile que movimos todos la debris que nos dijeron otra vez, que that's move out, la debris, y pues que organizamos como nos lo pidieron, que, pues, que hicimos lo mejor que pudieron y que fue el inspector y que tomó fotos y que nos dijo que se miraba todo muy bien.
Yeah, so we had like tree like logs and like debris laying there, and we took everything out, and we had like mounds of like wood chips, and we kind of like flattened everything out so it looks nice and neat now. And I think the trucks were like kind of all over the place, and we kind of like lined everything up together so it's not just a big mess all over the place.
Do you have any photographs showing what was done?
No, pero que el inspector que fue la sacó.
He said no, but an inspector went and he took photos and he said everything looked good.
Okay, did you have interaction with the inspector?
Que si tuviste interactions con el inspector.
Como que si platicamos. Sí, mi wife, dile, mi wife estuvo.
Yeah, my mom was there whenever he went
Estaba de town.
because he was out of town for work.
Okay, is your mother present?
Yeah, she's.
Okay, could she come forward? And could you swear her, please?
Good morning. My name is Ana Laura Alvarado. And yeah, I talked to the inspector and he took some picture. I have some, but in my phone.
Can you pull that microphone down to you?
Oh,
We
I'm
just
sorry.
Got some feedback.
Yeah, he took some pictures and he said everything was good, clean. And he gave me this one that it says no complaints if you wanna check.
If you pass it to the clerk? Okay, and so this is what he gave you at that time?
Yes, and he talked to me about the house because there's people living there.
Uh-huh.
And he told me that it's for a single family and all that stuff. So Yeah, that was, he said. He was like, everything looks good, everything looks clean, it's good, and that's it.
Okay, so this has happened since our last hearing, because it's dated on the 25th. So that looks like a notice of violation. Is that what you understood that was to be? It looks
This
like
one?
he's
The one-
advising you of a notice of violation. So, did you have any discussion further with him about the vehicles?
And no, about the vehicles, he said everything was good. And he asked me like how many cars are parking there for the workers and how many trucks and dump trucks we have for the business and all that. And yeah, and we talk about, as like I said, about the house. Like there's people living there that are his brother, 2 cousins, and his nephew, and he said that they are not allowed to be there. So what I asked him, like, because I remember that you said we can separate the house from the business, and he said we could do that if you guys decide that, if you approve it or whatever you decide.
Okay, so I think that we asked that for a meeting to happen or for some discussions to happen with code enforcement from the last time. It sounds like something happened on the, as a notice, during that conversation. Did y'all have any other conversations with staff as to the property or how you were going to handle the property? Because right now it's zone residential, and you're obviously operating a business off the property. So is there anything else that y'all brought forward today as a proposal for making things right?
Yeah, if
Solamente para tener el free business ahí.
yeah, it's
Que si te dijo que tuvieras que hacer algo más.
about the trucks that were sitting there and the equipment. He didn't say anything. He just was like worried more about the house, that the people living there. But I told him like we know if we have to.
Del cemento también.
Oh, and he said something about the concrete, that the cars for the workers. He said that probably you're gonna ask for concrete instead of the gravel for the cars, for the workers. But he said he knows like there's like 35% that we can have like concrete on the property. And so we can like go to the zoning department and they would go and check and see, like, you know, like check the property and they can tell us like what to do. But if we need to have the house with no people, that's not a problem. Like we can do that, or we can separate the house from the business. Like, yeah, and like he said the last time, it's just for parking the vehicles. There's no equipment working there, like nothing working there, no noise, not just like turning on the cars in the morning and then the workers get there, yeah, in the evening around 6:30, 7 p.m. for late, and they park the cars and they take their own cars and they leave, and the next morning the same.
So when you were, okay, you finished?
I'm sorry, from Monday to Saturday.
Okay. So when you were talking with him, what did you tell him about how many vehicles there are at the site?
¿Cuántos vehículos son
De
los que
los,
están ahí?
de los del
De los
trabajo.
de los dump trucks, los
Son
carros.
de 8 o 9 dijimos. ¿Verdad?
There's 9,
Pero
yeah.
Hay como uno que no.
The dump trucks and all that, there's 9.
Work trucks, is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Dump trucks.
Nine
Yeah.
dump trucks, is that what you're calling them?
Yes.
Okay.
Plus los de los.
Plus the cars, for the workers. Yeah.
Workers, and I understood at the last hearing that some of the workers were also residents. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, and the inspector told me that that is not correct. Like, there's, like, the people that is living there is not allowed to live there. And we understand that if we need to do, like, as I said, if we need the house to be alone, we're gonna leave it alone.
Okay.
Or if we can separate, as you guys proposed the last time, we can separate the business from the house, and we know that is another process to do that.
Okay. Does anyone else here want to ask questions?
Thank you, Chair. So, you know, you have an interesting situation where a lot split could be of some benefit and could mitigate the extent to which rezoning a portion of your property would impact your neighbors. Have you folks considered hiring a lawyer? There's a good one here today. There were several other good ones here at the last meeting. Have you considered hiring a lawyer that knows the process and
Que sí hemos,
Un abogado.
ajá, que sí hemos like, pensado en agarrar un abogado.
Pues que sí es necesario.
Que, que
Porque hay una parte que impacta a los vecinos.
no nomás que nos ayudaría pues a hacer esto,
Pues de que sí es necesario, pues que sí.
pero no es necesario solo si tú quieres para que te ayude.
Si lo ocupamos, digo, o sea, si cree que lo vamos a ocupar, pues que sí.
He said, if you think it would be better and necessary, that we'll be willing to.
I think that'd be really prudent because you're dealing with a business and you're dealing with some interesting land use situations, and you know we're here really principally to make recommendations, not to counsel people through the process to quite this degree. So I just pass that along as a thought to try to benefit you folks.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Anyone else want to ask him any other questions? Okay, y'all can have a seat, please. Thank you. And just to add some context to this, if we can get code enforcement to come forward.
Good morning, Delisa Foster, Cobb County Code Enforcement.
Good morning. We just looked at a document showing that there was a site visit, I guess, on 25th.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that right? Could you walk us through what occurred then and the impetus to it, the history of it?
Okay, so the applicant stated that there was no concern on the 25th. That the notice of violation states clearly that it's a violation and it is a concern. They have trucks on the property, 2 vehicles with expired tags. For non-compliance vehicles, the ordinance states that all vehicles are to be operable and display a current tag at all times per Cobb County guidelines. So they have 2 weeks to come into compliance with that. The officer was advised that the owner's brother lives at the property with 2 cousins and 1 nephew. That's another violation of single-family dwelling. The officer was able to get some pictures of the property. The debris was removed, but we still have to deal with too many vehicles being on the property, multiple business vehicles, along with unrelated people and business equipment on the property. And I do have pictures from the inspection of February 25th if the board would like to view them.
Yes, please.
So You see that the debris has been cleaned up, and whatever mulch or anything that they had on the property has been smoothed out. Over here shows multiple business vehicles on the property. And according to the ordinance for customary home occupation, it states that you're allowed to have one business vehicle under 12,500 pounds gross. They have too many business vehicles at the property. Right here shows a expired tag of June 2021. And if a vehicle is outside of the enclosed garage, it must display a current tag at all times and be operable according to the ordinance for non-compliance vehicles. Under single-family dwelling, you're allowed to have maximum for this property of 4 vehicles outside of the garage or carport majority of the week. And being that the employees live there, and I'm not sure if there's extra employees that come here, they have too many vehicles and they're in violation of single family dwelling, but we are going to conduct early morning inspections at a later date to count the vehicles at the property and have an official answer. Here's another expired tag at the property of June 2022. This photo shows that they have business equipment at the property. The property is zoned residential, and under customary home occupation, you cannot have the business equipment at the property. And that's pretty much what we have right now.
Okay. And did you have interaction with the Sanchez's after the last hearing?
I'm sorry, I did not hear your question. Can you repeat that, please?
Yeah, did you have interaction with the Sanchez's after the last hearing?
No.
Okay.
Our inspections are conducted by the officers. I'm an in-office supervisor, and I review their cases.
Okay, so you didn't have any discussions with them about the property or the rezoning request, is that right?
No, they speak with directly with the officer who came out to do the inspection, and it was made clear to them that outside of them, right now, the board can only address what it is they actually applied for today, but they do have other issues outside of the application, which they need to go back to zoning and apply for multiple other things as well.
Okay, very good. And but you are correct. Currently today, we're here to hear a rezoning case. Right. And so from the last meeting on the 3rd of last month to the present, what's happened is some cleanup has occurred. Is that correct?
Yes, they made effort in trying to make the property look more presentable by removing trash, debris, and also smoothing out like wood chip piles and everything and smoothing it throughout the property. So they did attempt to have everything look clean and neatly. They're just still in violation of customary home occupation, non-compliance vehicles, and single-family dwelling.
Very good. All right, anyone else have questions?
Thank you again, Madam Chair. So do you think this is something where you get a sense that there's an intent to try to work with code enforcement to try to come into compliance?
Yes, they are willing to try to come into compliance, but the question that we're asking right now is really what the board will decide if they can operate a business in a residential area. And as far as my thoughts, code enforcement doesn't have any thoughts. We recommend that the board follows the recommendation of zoning, who's reviewed everything, and also met with other departments to make a final decision.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Peterson, did you have any contact with the Sanchez's after our last hearing?
No, I did not.
Okay. And can you state what staff's recommendation was for this and the rationale?
The staff recommendation for this, Madam Vice Chair, was to deny the application. We just felt that with this not being in compliance with the future land use map and the fact that it's mostly surrounded by residential properties, we didn't think it would be a good fit to put an industrial type use in that area.
Thank you. Anyone else?
In looking at, just for comments, in looking at where the property is located and listening to the applicant
Are you
express.
having a question for Mr. Peterson?
I don't have a question for Mr. Peterson.
Okay,
Do I need to wait for my comments?
I think a second.
Okay, go ahead. I was premature there.
Yeah. Yeah, did anyone else have questions for Mr. Peterson or for any other member of staff? Yeah.
And I should know, but what was the total acreage of this tract? I apologize.
It's 1.44 acres.
So there'd be enough there to, if they came in with a proper division plan, to turn this into maybe even 3 lots because they're zoned R20? Is that right?
Not without additional variances or Board of Commissioners action. You know, there's very limited public road frontage on this lot, and you need 75 feet per lot to subdivide a lot. So they have about 50 feet maybe.
And again, I'm not asking you to start providing advice to these folks, but is this a situation where if they'd had counsel that there's a lot more they could have done to come up with something workable?
Really can't answer that question, Commissioner Benoit.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
I just have one question. It looks like the house to the south of the property on Alorna also does not have 75 feet of frontage. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so there is a path for them to not have 75 feet of frontage, should they choose to get counsel and move forward in a path?
There may be, but I'm not sure if that house, or both houses to the south are grandfathered or not. I have no idea.
Okay. Thank you.
Do you want to ask questions of anyone else? No? Okay, and so at this time, I'm going to make a motion so that we can have a discussion. How about that? All right. It's clear, I think, that that we have a number of code violations that are problematic, and that therefore this request for rezoning has been brought forward. At this time, I am not inclined to approve the rezoning request, but there are a number of underlying issues that have been discussed the other day and today. And I do think that it is appropriate that the applicant secure some additional counsel and be able to address this with the advice of counsel. I appreciate that in good faith, the cleanup was done. But that's not enough to resolve this issue in order for us to make any consideration of approval of this matter. So at this time, I would move to hold this for another 30 days to allow the applicant to secure counsel and determine an appropriate course of action and bring the matter back before this board. That's my motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, and now I will open the floor for discussion. I will call the question. Sorry. Okay, the motion is approved 4-0, and was there any need for discussion? Okay. If I can ask the applicant, do y'all understand what we just said? Okay. And if you have any further questions, you can contact community development or, as we said, retain an attorney to give you proper advice. Okay? Okay, thank you. All right, thank you very much. Okay, Mr. Peterson.
Okay, next case is rezoning case Z2 of 2026, Piedmont Residential LLC. Request a rezoning from R20 to RM8 for a single-family community in land lots A58, A59, A70, and A71 of the 16th District. The property is located on the east side of Bells Ferry Road and on the north and west sides of Dixon Road, south of Interstate 75. Is the applicant present? The applicant is here. Is there anyone here opposed to rezoning case Z2? Okay, let the record show there's no one opposed. Would the applicant please come forward to be sworn in?
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Michael Miller. I'm with Piedmont Residential, the applicant. As we all know, this was held from the last meeting, and just very briefly, 68 homes along Bells Ferry, and fronting on Dixon Road. We are excited about being able to do this project here. We think it will be a tremendous improvement to that area. But following the last meeting, we had some continuing conversations, and based on those conversations, we have revised our stipulation letter to provide for 2 items, and I will you got the B team today. I'm sorry Mr. Moore wasn't able to be here, but you're a seasoned veteran now. Okay. We good? So, all right, this is made for right-handers. So the 2 things that we have included in our stipulation letter is there was a question, I'm going to reorient this, there we go. There was a question about this area which we have shown and discussed as being undisturbed, but what we have proposed in our stipulation letter is, it may be a little hard to see, but we have we've now designated this as a passive park, and you may be able to see a green line around the border. What we have proposed is that we would fence this area. We would go in and we would clean this up, subject, of course, to the buffers and whatnot, but we will clean this out, and we will set this up with access from the rest of the neighborhood so that this can be used as a passive park and maintained by the homeowners association. And so that will be part of the homeowners association documents. And the fence would certainly be along Bells Ferry, and we would continue it back away from Bells Ferry in a way that's proper to protect the property and allow it to be maintained properly. The second stipulation provides that we will design both the full access here on Dixon as well as the right out only onto Bells Ferry. We will design those entrances and exits to accommodate a gate in the future if the homeowners should desire to do that. At this time, we do not think that is necessary. Again, this is 68 homes. And believe that that could be a heavy burden for such a small number of homes, but in the future, they may decide that that's something they want, so we want to design it so that it would accommodate. And we know that the county has some specific guidelines and ordinances related to that, so we'll make sure as we go through the permitting process that this gets designed so that it can be done without the homeowners association having to come back later. With that, I won't take up any more time, but happy to answer any questions you have.
Okay, was there any opposition? Okay, I'm going to turn this over to Ms. Michaeletto for handling, as it's in District 2.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I just have one quick question for you.
Sure.
This could just be because this has been through the process multiple times, but there seems to be a discrepancy in the size of the homes. So on one document, it says 1,800 square feet is the minimum, which is the application. And then somewhere in there, in the middle of all the documents, it says 1,600, which I only saw mentioned once. And then on the stip letter, it says 17. Can you
Number, any number.
Right? So can we clarify that it'll be 1,800 square feet?
It is, the correct number is 1,700. I believe the plan, as it's currently drawn, if I'm very exact, is 1746, but I think we put 1,700 just to give us just a little bit of room there. But if we could get approved at 1,700, then there would be no questions, and we'd never have to come back and ask and deal with that.
Okay, so we just need to make sure that that's cleaned up and all in order. And then the last item is the distance between the homes. So I noticed that you're asking for a variance and setback to 2 feet. So is it 2 feet on each home, so it's an aggregate of 4?
Yes, it's
Okay.
2 feet from the property line, 4 feet between buildings.
Okay, so, and will there be fences between the buildings?
No,
Or no, just
there
a
will
single
not.
on the front? So we
No.
can maintain access between the two?
That's correct.
Okay,
But I would point out that on Dixon Road, again, these homes will be front-facing, and each of those will have, each of those front yards will be fenced. And that will be set up to be, those would be maintained by the homeowners association.
could you put that other
Certainly.
one back up, just so everybody can see that? Okay, so we'll have a fence along the front of Dixon, and then the 20-foot buffer between the fence and the road?
Yes, each of these homes will have, most likely a decorative aluminum fencing on the front yard, and then probably similar fencing over here along Bell's Ferry. I don't envision that being privacy fencing, but we would be open to whatever suggestions the county may prefer here. Here, I think you would want that to be, decorative fencing, not privacy fencing
Okay.
along here.
Okay, just wanted to make sure that they had the ability to maintain between them.
Absolutely. And again, that maintenance would be the responsibility of the homeowners association. So there's a uniformity.
All right. Those were the only questions that I had. Did you guys have any others?
Can you just comment on the distance between the garage doors and the curb or the roads running through the neighborhood?
It's whatever the code minimum is, certainly, but I believe it's designed for 22 feet, if I'm correct. But I know there's fire code that says, below this distance, you have to have so much parking. So there's actually a fire code parking regulation which will drive that, and we will meet that minimum. But off the top of my head, I believe it's 22 feet.
And I saw about 30 guest parking spaces on the plan. Is that about right?
That sounds about right. Again, I'm trying to do this from memory, but I believe the code says that if the homes have 22 feet or more, they're required 1/2 space per unit of guest parking. So at 68, we should have 34 spaces. So whatever that math is where we will end up, to comply with those parking ordinances and the fire code.
And you're going to have garages, right?
Yes.
And will your covenants require that the garages be kept for car storage, not for other?
I have not seen that in our covenants previously. I think, there are certain things that you can and can't do within covenants. I would have to defer to our expert attorney on that, but I don't know the answer to that.
Well, do you know if your covenants allow people to turn their garages into additional living space?
No, they would not. That would take, no, because your code doesn't allow that.
Right. Okay, good. Okay, thank you.
I'd like to put forth a motion for a recommendation with staff, or approval with staff recommendations and stipulations. Okay, and to clarify, we will have a minimum of 1,700 square feet per residence, just to clean up that
Thank you.
item. Motion to approve with staff recommendations and a minimum square footage of 1,700.
And subject to the letter.
And subject to the stipulation letter.
I second.
Any further discussion? Call the question. Motion is approved 4-0. Next case, Mr. Peterson.
Would the board want to put that on consent agenda for the BOC? Okay, we need another motion. Sorry.
I motion to put this on consent agenda.
Second.
Call the question. Motion approved 4-0.
Thank you. All right, next case is LUP 2 of 2026. April Murchison requests a temporary land use permit to allow more vehicles than the code allows in land lot 376 of the 16th district. The property is located on the southeast corner of Woodhill Drive and Shadowwood Court. The applicant is present. Is there anyone here opposed to LUP 2? Let the record show there's no one opposed. Would the applicant please come forward to be sworn in?
Good morning.
Morning.
At the last hearing, we were,
Good morning. If y'all could introduce yourselves.
okay.
Gregory Prasad, April Murchison, Zion Prasad.
Okay, thank you.
So
And you can proceed now.
the last time we were here, you guys was asked me what I was willing to do to my property. I have a blueprint here to show the fence I want to build and what it would look like. I know it's hard to take
Okay. And so,
This is my fence. Yeah, outlined in red. And I'm going, this is the fence outlined in red. I'm gonna do some landscape in front of it. This is the type of fence I'm trying to build.
Excuse me, if you have that mic, if y'all wouldn't mind just walking up front here so that we could actually see what you're talking about. Okay, and
since the last hearing, this was existing gravel here. We have planted sod there, so all of this now is grass. Here we have planted 4 large evergreen trees that would give the neighbors who were complaining some privacy of the driveway. Our existing driveway now only has 2 cars in it. So this is the plan for the fence. The fence would start here, come around. The gate would be here, and this would be more existing fence to come all the way around to the back of the property and stop here. These would be large green giants or some type of rose bushes to beautify that fence so it wouldn't just look like a plain fence. And this is the type of privacy fence that we would like to, a nice one that we like to build. So yeah.
So we can go forward and get this.
So, you want us to come a little closer, babe? Oh, okay. So,
I'm trying to make it as beautiful as
yes.
possible. We've just been in there 6 months now. And now I only have 4 cars outside, so I'm trying to do everything to make this happen.
Thank you.
I wouldn't roll that up too fast, okay?
Okay.
We want to keep that.
We don't have any opposition, is that correct, Mr. Peterson?
Correct.
And I would note, though, for everyone's benefit, that we have received comments and that we did have some opposition at the last hearing. So, you know, we consider that, but even though they're not present. But since there's no one else present, if y'all could just remain at the podium and complete any statement that you wanted to make before we begin asking you questions.
Yeah, I would like for you guys to approve what I'm trying to do. It's nothing serious. I want to please the neighbors that are looking at my truck and just build a fence so they won't be able to see that. And like I said,
And
we only
beautify
got
that
2
fence.
cars in the garage side of the driveway, and I have 2 trucks on the other side, so I'm well within code and the boundaries, and so I'm not breaking any laws or rules. And I'm willing to spend $37,000 on lumber and labor to build a fence to please a neighbor that keep looking at my property. I mean, I don't know what else I would.
So you came here originally, though, with a request for approval of 7 cars.
That was the total cars, my wife cars, my trucks, and all of that.
We have
So,
moved several
yeah.
of those vehicles.
My kid is off to college, so
Right.
that's 1 car gone.
So you've
He's
taken
going-
care of all of that?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
so
And
now you're in
code enforcement is right
compliance.
here to prove that I cleaned up everything that was, you know, I even planted trees and, you know,
Yeah.
that was $4,000
And
right
sod.
there. And sod. So,
Okay, so you no longer need you no longer need permission to park additional cars, is that correct?
Well, the neighbors are not, we've been told they don't like looking at my husband's pickup trucks.
which is a 2500 Chevy. I mean,
So to please him, we were asking please to enable us to build that fence so they would be out of his sight. And then they don't keep having to call code enforcement, you know, to make problems.
I didn't want to park on the street because I thought that was a, you know, hazard.
Okay, if you want to ask a question?
The height of the fence?
Yes.
Oh, 8 foot. Because I think that would give me I don't think they make any lumber longer than that for fence, but.
But that fence would be covered with green
Yeah,
giant and some
I'm
kind
going
of
to beautify it.
landscaping.
Can't
That's
leave
the
it
work
alone.
we do is landscaping and tree removal, so planting those plants and beautifying that fence would
Would be
be.
no problem.
No problem. We just need permission to build the fence.
Not so much, I mean, that, yeah, because
Would you have an opposition, because our county code is 6 feet?
Correct.
For fencing?
in front of the house, yes.
Or to the side of the property as
feet.
well. So so this fencing that you're proposing is going to be placed where? To the rear of your property or to the side of your property?
The rear, the side, and some of the front. Not in front,
You might have to take it back up.
yeah. So the fence gonna be the rear of the property is the backside, the side. and then the living area. So the back, a little bit of the side, and then this right here.
Where are you trying to put the 8 feet at? Because
I was trying to do all around.
that's a corner property. What Cobb County ordinances is that since that's a corner property, you're allowed to have it at 6 feet. And then since it's a corner property, you have to have a mitered corner as well.
Okay. Even though
The
it's
fence is not
on
up
the
yet.
corner on this side?
That's a corner property, sir. It's 6 feet.
So
Or,
if I'm over here, it would still be?
yes, that's a corner.
I'll do 6 in the front and then 8 in the back.
No. You can do the 8 back because of that street.
It's gotta be 8 feet behind the back of the house, so.
Okay,
So
what about the
most of
one
it's
hill?
gonna be 6.
Right.
Okay, but right here, from here back, I can do 8.
Once you get to the rear corner of the house, where's the house at? That's the rear of the property. Once you get to the rear of the property, then that back end can. But from the sides, on those ends, in the front, you have to be at 6 feet. And then since it's a corner property, you have to have a mitered corner. We can go over, I'll meet with you guys and we can go over the ordinance.
So do I need to sign for a variance to do 8 feet all the way around?
Yes, if you don't have it already, you would want to go through zoning and apply for a variance and ask the board for 8 feet.
I'll do 6 in the front, that way we can get this wrapped up today. That sounds good to everybody.
Mr. Peterson, what is your recommendation as to
Wait.
the right way to proceed here?
Go back over there, I gotta ask you some questions.
Yeah.
May I ask some questions, Madam Vice
Yes,
Chair?
please do.
Okay, because we started off last month with 8 cars on the property. How many cars are there gonna be now on the property?
4.
Okay.
No.
So- Okay, 'cause-
Five.
okay.
I'm sorry,
Yes,
5.
he has.
Because with the size of your house, you're allowed to have 5 cars on the property with
Okay.
4 allowed outside.
Okay.
So if you park one in the garage, then you really don't need this process, you're legal. And you wouldn't be required to build a fence or anything. So you're allowed to have 5 cars on your property, 1 has to be in the garage, and the 4 other ones can be parked outside. So if you can do that, then we don't need this process anymore.
And I don't need to build a fence?
No.
But we will have 5 cars outside, because my son has a truck as well.
Okay, so there's no way to put one in the garage?
No, we have one.
And that's why we asked for the land use permit
Okay,
in
so
the
so
beginning.
this permit is really to have 1 extra car outside?
Right.
Okay. Well, that,
And to satisfy those neighbors, we would like to make that beautiful fence
Right,
and then,
because it looks like
Hopefully
if I
they
have
can
a
be-
wheelbarrow back there, they call, so I really don't want to have the hay. We're trying to be comfortable in our home.
okay, so the request is now, instead of 8 outside, you want to have 5 outside?
5,
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
so that's only 1
It's
extra?
1 extra,
Okay.
yes.
Will you ever have 6? You have a son, you have a child at college, right? So in the summer, you'll have 6?
You say what now?
You have a child at school?
Yes.
Is that what
Yes.
you said? So in the summer, you'll have 6, and at Christmas, you'll have 6? Might want to ask for 6?
No, we would pick them up.
We can pick
Yeah,
him up
and-
to
and-
even
and
avoid
if
that.
if he's visiting, that's okay, right?
That's
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay, just
So
make sure.
that's fine. Because I do like for him to come home as much as he can. That's why I choose Tech. Well, he chose Tech, so. He wanted to go to Georgia, but it was too far.
Tech is way better anyway.
Oh, good, good. I know I got some dog fans in here, I mean. I was a dog, I'm still is, I celebrate in a different room.
Sorry.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Okay, at this time, I'm going to make a motion to approve you for 1 additional vehicle on the property and to tell you, thank you very much for putting all this time and effort into it and for
Thank you
hearing your
for
neighbors
hearing us.
and for being great neighbors. So that's my motion.
And you want that for 12 or 24 months?
24?
24 months, okay.
I second that motion.
So in 24 months, I gotta come back and do this all over again?
So do we have
And-
permission to build the fence?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you do
We
have,
wanna do that, so it just can be privacy, nobody have to call, you got a ladder in the yard. Where do you want me to put it?
right. This is a recommendation to the Board of Commissioners. You do have to come back before the Board of Commissioners, but yes, it would be for 24 months. They can describe to you the process, but as long as you're a good neighbor, you
Yeah.
won't have to worry about it.
Yep.
Second? You did second? Okay, I'll call a question. And a motion is approved 4-0. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And please come back in 2 weeks for the Board of Commissioners hearing in the same room, okay?
Okay,
In 2
Come back-
weeks?
Yeah, come back here in 2 weeks for the final hearing.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you so much.
So don't do anything yet?
Yeah. That's right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Mr. Peterson, we got one more case?
Yes. Okay, last case on the agenda is rezoning case Z8 of 2026, Brock Built Homes LLC. Request a rezoning from R30 to RA5 for a single-family subdivision in land lot 809 of the 19th District. The property is located on the southeast side of Hiram Lithia Springs Road, southwest of Angham Road. The applicant is present. Is there anyone here opposed to rezoning case Z8? One? Okay. Let the record show there's one person opposed. All those who would like to address the board, please come forward to be sworn in. Just swear in, yeah.
You ready to proceed?
I was about to say good afternoon,
I
Because-
was hoping that you would.
because I'm the last case of the day. I'm the last zoning case, and it is it really, quite frankly, should be a little alarming to everybody that there's so little activity. I mean, because this is like the canary in the coal mine. Zoning cases lead to housing, leads to development, economic growth, so this should be a concern. Before I begin, I want to ask for additional time. This is a case that I think deserves a little more time than the 10 minutes. And I have been very bothered by the fact that the studies show that the first-time home buyer is now 40. And we all need to address that. And so I think, given the fact that this is the last case and it's only 10 o'clock, I'd like more than 10 minutes.
Okay, well, we'll give you 12, and the opposition will have 12.
All right, well, I'm gonna go for a while, and if I swear to you that the information.
If you're
I
at a
provide-
really good place, then we'll let you continue.
Okay. This is a property, 11
Madam Chair-
acres.
Madam Chair, just remind the speaker to state his name so the clock can start.
Oh, thank you. For the record, my name is Parks Huff with Sam's Larkin Huff, and I represent Brock Built Homes, who is sitting in the front row, and Habitat for Humanity is also here, to bring an exciting case before you that addresses the housing need. One of the things I want to ask, I left a couple things on there. This is a housing study. I left it up there. Have y'all familiar with this? Because this is some of the stuff I'm going to be covering. This is an extremely important document. I hope you have had a chance to look at. The other thing is MDJ article that did a really good job of explaining the housing needs and crunch that we have here. And this is an opportunity to really deeply dig into this. So this is 11 and a half acres that proposed to be a home for 36 families in Cobb County. It is adjacent to the city of Powder Springs. There's a subdivision adjacent to us called Cameron's Springs. And then that is, you can see when we show you the site plan, we're very similar in terms of lot size, lot matchup. So we're kind of consistent with that. Just pointed out there's a Seven Springs community that's under development right now, just south of that. Also in the city of Powder Springs, those have 8,000 square foot lots. That's in the city just adjacent there. One of the most important things to understand where these properties are at, and I don't think we do a good enough job, and the reason why I ask for more time is I don't think we do a good enough job to give you the context of where these properties are at and what that actually means. So there's the property all the way on the left-hand side there. And then some of the things that I think are very relevant for your consideration. Number one is the star right there. There's a GDOT park and ride lot. That is a critical transit infrastructure that provides access to jobs in employment. And so its proximity is something that should be noted in any evaluation of a housing case, because you put housing close to transit. That's how you solve traffic problems. That's how you help a community grow in a positive way. You can also see there's HI, there's a lot of industrial in the area, and a lot of employment in the area. You can see the mixture of different zonings in the area. In addition to City of Powder Springs, you have some OSCs, some CS zonings. Then the north-south is C.H. James Parkway. I don't know if you know this is a designated state truck route. It's a heavily used truck route that also leads to a lot of employment, a lot of jobs and such. To the north is Hiram. To the south is Airport, Intermodal Facility, and all the jobs there. And then if you go on Richard Saylor's Parkway, which intersects C.H. James right there, that arrow to the right, that's Powder Springs. Again, jobs, shopping, retail, all that is right there. So this is in the heart of all this stuff. And that's the reason why this is where you put housing. When you look at your county documents, this is, the star didn't show up on this. This is the arterial road map. And this shows you the arterial roads, and that star is exactly where our property is. And the first thing that jumps out at you is how close this property is to all these arterial routes. And that's, again, important for your consideration when you look at good planning. This is the Cobb Transit map. This is in your land use plan documents. Again, star. Look at the P, and the P are the park and ride lots. This connects these properties to transit and employment. Again, good planning puts residential and increases residential density closer to arterial roads, closer to transit, closer to jobs, closer to shopping. That is how you positively drive a community. This is the site plan that we have. It's 36 single-family homes, single-family detached for-sale homes. One of the things that we keep reading about, as I said, 40 is now the first age of the average first-time home buyer. That should alarm everybody. It is a real problem that the county faces, and it's a question whether or not we can address it. The things that I want to point out is look at the bottom row, and you can see the lots lined up, and you can see how we are consistent with the lot sizes and layout of the surrounding existing residential neighborhoods. There are some legacy lots that have probably been around for 30 to 40, 50 years. But I will tell you that you do not plan based upon a 30-year-old lot. That is, planning is looking forward, not looking backwards. And that's one of the problems this county has, is we look backwards rather than forwards. We have a land use plan that looks back. We have a comp plan that looks back. We need to look forward. And so what any new development in this area is consistent with this size lot and in this size homes. So again, this gives you the context of how we lay in adjacent to the neighborhood to our south. And one of the things I'm very glad to bring forward is that we're partnering with Habitat for Humanity on this case. So a third of these homes will be purchased by people who qualify under Habitat's program of 80% AMI. That allows people to buy in a home and be able to get home ownership and get that stability and get that hedge against inflation, housing inflation, that we all crave and that we all benefit from. One of the things I want to point out when we talk about who Habitat, it always comes up, who's going to live here, and what does Habitat mean? I want to just kind of bring it down to a different thought, which is every one of us, when we buy a home, we have help. When I bought my first home, I was able to buy my first home because my parents had paid for my college and my law school. I didn't have a debt. I also had my cars that I had in college paid for by my parents. That is how I bought my first home. Think of Habitat as that parent, that, maybe grandparent that's helping, but for someone who doesn't have that parent. Maybe their parents had cancer and lost all their life savings and weren't able to pay for college, so they had to take out a loan. That's how Habitat helps. So don't think of Habitat as something foreign. We all rely upon help getting into housing, and that's what Habitat does. Habitat is there for the people that may not have the legacy, the history that allows them to get ownership, and Habitat is a hand up, not a hand out. You have ownership, and you don't immediately have equity. It's not an opportunity to flip and transiency in and out. It's an opportunity to buy and live. They have programs that they do not get to sell and tap the equity of that home for 10 and 20 years. So it is a stable program for people. Just dealing with how this program works, there's ARPA funds involved. This is all part of a program to be able to figure out how we get more people into housing. This is the housing types that we're talking about here. Very attractive homes. Yes, they're one-car garage, and one of them even actually has surface parking. I will tell you again, if I bring my personal life into it, my first home was a one-car garage. This is how you create some affordability. And when you have a household, I know the last case, there's people who live in all different, multi-generational and multiple things, but the average household size is 2.5 in Cobb County. So there's plenty of smaller households that need a place to live and will enjoy having a one-car garage and be able to park on the surface. This is, again, details of that article. I do hope you take the time from the MDJ that talked about how affordability is a real problem. Housing is up 75%, where incomes are only up 46%. That is an unsustainable gap. This is, and unless we do something, we don't have a way to handle this. One of the things that I thought was very instructive in this is that the article talked about how the biggest concern people have is housing affordability. That was the number one concern over crime, over traffic. The number one concern is housing affordability. And so we need to be able to address that number one concern. One of the other interesting quotes in that article that I thought was very interesting was talking about people who lived in their homes, how they realized that if they couldn't buy back into their own neighborhoods. And how, think about that. I mean, so when people come and oppose housing, they have housing, and they often are in a position where they can't even replace the housing they've got because prices have changed. So that's a realization that you can't even live in your own neighborhood if you were said you got to go buy a new house and you don't get the equity in your house. Could you even buy in your own neighborhood? This is the housing assessment study. I hope you've had a chance to read it. One of the things I wanted to point out here is this is the vision statement that was adopted by the Board of Commissioners. Housing needs variety of housing types, workforce housing, neighborhood, revitalization, reinvestment, mix of housing types, attainable housing, equitable housing, safe housing, convenient housing. Unfortunately, none of these goals are reflected in the staff analysis. And I think we can do a better job of reflecting some of these goals in the staff analysis and come up with ways to address what the county has identified as a problem and ways to address that problem. Very important to look at that and understand what it means. This is a chart, again, in that housing study that shows that top line is the growth in households, and the bottom line is the growth in housing. That gap gets wider. And again, that's the reason why we have a housing crunch where people cannot get housing they need. This is a workforce commute pattern. People commute from long distances. And going back to the very first slides about how using this type of thought is how you, in fact, get better housing. I'm running up on my time here. Am I boring you? Is there any of the information helpful for your consideration? Would you like me to continue? Okay. Can I continue? Okay. This is the land use plan. I've been doing this for 30 years. Your land use plan is the same land use plan that when I started doing this 30 years ago. Little tweaks here and there, but basically the same land use plan. Your staff noted that this whole area is very low density residential. When I tell you about the transit access.
Madam Chair, time has expired. 12 minutes is up.
If you don't think the information I'm providing you is helpful for your consideration, then tell me to stop.
Well, I would appreciate it if you give the board a little more respect. But because this is in Ms. Massey's district, I'm going to let her speak to say whether or not you think time should be extended at this time, or whether, it can be covered during your follow-up.
I'm inclined to give a little latitude this morning so that we can hear more context before we speak with opposition.
Okay, if we allow 2 more minutes.
Thank you. I'll try to be quick. So this is a basic land use plan that we've been having for the last 30 years. This whole area is very low density residential, which caps the maximum density at 2 units per acre. That's the reason why your staff recommends a denial, is because they look at that 2 units per acre, and that's it. That's the end of the discussion. That's the end of the analysis. And this is the percentage of your land use plan: 46 and 17 and 3%. That is 66% of your land only is low density, 2.5 units per acre. 5% is only medium density residential. Those visions that were laid out cannot be achieved with a land use plan that has this skewed and does not have more medium density residential. It just cannot be achieved. And there's a disconnect between the goals laid out in your comp plan and the actual future development map, which, as I said before, isn't a future development map. It's a map that looks backwards. It's hanging on to something from the past. It does not look forward. Want to talk about school board. I'm kind of disappointed the school board representative, and I'm sorry I'm a little crass this morning. I'm surprised the school board isn't here in support. If they wanted to build a relationship and a rapport and show some credibility, they'd be here and say, we support this because all these schools have tons of capacity. But they're not. But yes, the schools have tons of capacity. In Mid-Keachern High School, 328 under capacity. Cooper, 108 under capacity. Again, going back to our critical need for housing, one of the things that I think that we don't talk about is the school board shows up concerned about housing, concerned about students. They should be concerned about where their students can live after they graduate high school. So there's roughly 10,000 people graduate every year from Cobb schools. Over a 10-year period, that's 18 to 28-year-olds. That's roughly 100,000 people. Have we done anything in our comp plan, our land use plan?
Time has expired.
To provide housing for those people?
Thank you. Is there opposition? And so opposition will have 14 minutes. Okay, and opposition, you may come forward.
Thank you, Council. I have to give me a little bit of leeway. First time I've been in a council meeting here in Georgia. I'm used to Los Angeles, and it's nuts. Anyway, I want to put forth,
If you will state your name for the record, please.
oh, I'm sorry, Stephen Ross. I'm a resident of the county, of Cobb County. And I don't have the detailed map that council graciously put together. Thank you. But I want to bring to note some things that the county might not be aware of. The main corridor for a building is along the 85, all the way up to Washington, D.C. from Atlanta. That's where all your growth is going. That's all the prediction, all the big companies, everything. That's one thing. Bringing this particular code down from the R30, if you look at the houses in that area, we're talking about $750,000 and up. The average lot size is well over 1.5 acres, such as mine, which is 2.5 acres. One reason I bought it. We need to also look at infrastructure that Cobb County has, such as water. Water is irreplaceable, and we're going through it like it's going out of style. LA is drowning in no water, and we don't want that here. We are dependent upon groundwater and rain. And you might have noticed just 2 months ago, we were having a bit of a short drought. If you looked at our big lakes that we draw water from, they're way down. It's important that when we go to build something, we put that into context of what we're putting there and how we're going to support it. Another thing, with this particular one that I didn't see on any of the documentation given was a traffic study of getting in and out, where they are showing the road to this unit. There is another road that comes in where Harlem Lithia Springs Road rings into Angstrom, and there's a lot of traffic through there. The speed limit, they've got posted at 40 miles an hour. I will guarantee it's not unusual to see 50 and 60 going through there. Another thing, we've got semis going through there, even though it's not really built for semis, but they come through there and they're rolling. So I would like a study of traffic, at least, to be done. Otherwise, you're going to have wrecks up there like it's going out of style. I don't think anybody's looked at it. I haven't seen any presentation or any data on it, other than my watching out the front of my house. But I think a lot of things, as far as getting housing for low cost or high density, one of the things that Georgia was known for is having open land available and trees. When people go in now to build, the first thing they do is clear the lot. That's what happened with the development that they showed behind my house. It was all trees in there. Now there's none. Where's the wildlife that used to come? We had all sorts of wildlife. deer would regularly come up through there and eat on our plants. But it's neat. Now we're not giving wildlife a place to live. That's why we see them killed on the side of the road. That's something else that should be brought into plans for housing. We don't want to put in housing that has an irreparable cause against the values of homes now that are there. One of the things I've seen in the past, and this is back in California, is they've done these very high density housings and values, even though they tell you the prices are going up, which they are, but the value of homes that are in that area go down. So you're penalizing the people that have bought into that area for that type of area to where they had room around their houses, and not put a hand out and shake hands with your neighbor. I've seen that too often, even starting out here. But I would like the council to really consider all of the things that go into housing, the development around, the amount of development going on in Georgia. People are coming here, I understand. Are we building up to make money, or are we building up for people? It's up to you. Thank you. You have any questions?
No, thank you. You may be seated. Is
Thank
there
you.
anyone else here in opposition? Okay, at this time, I turn this matter over to Ms. Massey because this is in their district.
Thank you, Chair. I'd love to talk to Parks, if you could come up, and I have a couple of questions for you. I understand that Habitat for Humanities is involved with this project, but I'd like to learn a little bit more about what their involvement is, what that impact is proposed to the development, so that we can have a little bit more context.
Yes, and I've got representative from Habitat who also maybe can fill in if I fumble the answer a little bit. But what this is a 36 lots. What we have in a stipulation letter dated February 24th is 1/3 of these homes will be Habitat homes sold by Habitat through their program that allows home buyers to qualify at the 80% AMI level. So it's designed to, and they also plan as a kind of a subcomponent of that, target several of these homes for Cobb fire, emergency responders, Cobb employees, teachers, so that people can live and work in Cobb County. So it's in that 80% AMI says that you can qualify if you're below that 80% AMI, and then they give you assistance on purchasing the home, but it's not as I said, it's not a handout, it's a hand up. And so it's not like you get it and then you can flip it and make quick money or something like that. It's for your stable house, and they have Habitat has a 10-year program, so you can't do anything unless you get their approval for 10 years. Obviously, they have exceptions if they're family situations, things like that, but for 10 years, you can't just tap that equity. But, and they also, because there's some other government fundings, there also is a 20-year time limit on some of those funding. But so that's the way it works. So if you're someone, what they anticipate is someone who's a Cobb County employee that qualifies under that 80% AMI can actually qualify for these homes. They have down payment assistance, loan assistance to be able to get into the home. So their mortgage payment is consistent with their income. And it allows you to live closer to where you work. And that's how we help with traffic overall.
Great, thank you for answering that. With respect to the opposition's concerns with traffic,
Yeah.
I know we haven't spoken with DOT yet, but since you are here, can you address what you may know to be concerns about
Yes.
traffic?
Yeah, I'd be glad to. And the gentleman's correct that the intersection, go back to, here we go. The intersection at Angham and Hiram Lithia Springs Road, this is a technical term, it's funky. It comes in at a kind of a 45-degree angle. And so there's an issue with how that intersection works. And then per the county regulations, they want us to do a left turn lane because we're over 30 lots, so we would be required under the county rules to do a left turn lane. We are in debate, and this is one of the things that I really want to emphasize is plan review is where most of the heavy engineering happens. It's where we will sit down and we all continue to work on it. But as you put in left turn lanes, then you start conflicting with other intersections. So length of it, how it fits in, and whether or not that Angham Road can be readjusted so it actually functions better, because it's a current issue, and so maybe it's an opportunity for us to be able to use our resources as we're having to make improvements there to fix that. What I encourage the board to do is not find a solution, but point out that there is an issue that needs to be resolved through plan review, and the county's engineers and our engineers will be working on how best to resolve that. But rest assured that we will be in compliance with development regulations and the rules and regulations as it goes through the plan review process.
Thank you for that. Too, I'm sure that compliance absolutely has to occur. I think the concern, though, for the county might be cost, and who bears the responsibility of that cost. Would the developer bear the cost of taking care of that traffic concern?
Yeah, we are responsible.
100% of that cost.
We are responsible for what is called project improvements. So the project improvements that relate to our development, we are 100% responsible for.
Okay, thank you. If you could let me hear from Department of Transportation so that we can learn a little bit more about what those concerns are. And thank you for being able to address them.
Wilson Collins, Cobb DOT.
Mr. Collins, thank you for being here this morning. If you could just briefly share with us what those concerns are that the opposition was speaking to and what concerns there are with this particular subdivision, or with the proposed subdivision.
Yes, Commissioner. According to the last stipulations submitted by the applicant's representative, they were agreeable to all comments with the exception of the left turn lane, which they have objected to. We're still holding that there should be a left turn lane and to be finalized during site plan, as Parks did note. Additionally, on the latest site plan revised, I did have a chance to review. There's a modified sidewalk that appears to be meandering around a utility pole, and additionally, that would have to be aligned with the curb and to be designed during plan review, and the relocation is the responsibility of the developer to manage.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions for DOT? Go ahead.
The left turn lane that you're referencing, is it a left turn lane approaching up Lithia Springs Hiram, or is it on Angham, or is it both directions?
So the left turn lane is for the development, so they would be heading south to turn left into
From
the
Angham?
development.
Okay.
But a right turn lane is also required, so there's actually going to be turns from both sides
There's gonna
going
be a
into the
turn lane.
development because they're responsible for their site.
That was my question. Thank you.
Okay, a whole bunch, I think. They're kind of in a curve here, So my first question to you is what's the safest place, in your opinion, to put the entrance road?
At this particular time, the site plan is conceptual. I don't believe any site distances have been checked. That requires to be done by a surveyor to ensure that they're meeting adequate site distance. At this time, having GIS data only, I do not know where the site distance would be optimal and what that might look like.
Okay, because I noted also it looks like they have a possibility, maybe either further down to the south as one travels down Hiram Lithia Springs and gets into the single-family houses along them. That could be another possibility. It doesn't look like this other stem way on down is a good possibility because of the way it comes into the intersection there. Kind of doesn't line up well with Pearson Road. Is that usually a concern where you don't like two roads to come together like that? Just addressing the possibility of using that southern stem.
That is an option that the applicant has not brought up, but I'm absolutely willing to consider.
Did you typically not like roads to join the arterial road in a manner as would be indicated here? Is that typically an issue, having one road within so many feet of another?
I believe the survey was submitted on a site plan, and their property does not have any of the driveway on their property. I believe that's what the surveyors were able to find.
Okay, could you just kind of show us your idea right now of how this left turn lane would work and where it would be, so we'd have an idea?
The applicant did submit a proposal. I do not have that currently, and that was not submitted to the Planning Commission.
Well, we have something in the packet we just got today. I'm happy to hand my copy down. You have the same thing? Yes. Yeah, it's a good thought. Has any thought been given to trying to line the road up with Angham as it comes in, rather than place it as shown here? Do you know?
Yes, Commissioner. There's a recommendation that the entrance to the neighborhood either be directly aligned with or at least 125 feet offset from that road, Commissioner. So that is absolutely something that could be considered.
And then did you know, I don't know if you've had a chance to review the proposed STIP letter from the applicant, but they said they were fine with compliance with Cobb DOT comments in the staff analysis, except that of a left turn lane on Hiram Lithia Springs Road because of the proximity to Angham, creating a turning conflict. So can you just work us through how that conflict might be resolved? And you might have already just said it, actually, but just work us through that and tell us why it's important to have that left turn lane.
It's important for safety. This is a major collector road. The speed limit's 40 miles an hour. There's extremely limited sight distance that I'm able to observe at the GIS level, at least. So we're definitely concerned about safety.
So you definitely want that left turn lane?
I think that it can be accommodated in some form or fashion, and that during the plan review process, we would be able to consider any deviations from this standard detail 401F.
But you definitely recommend this left turn lane, correct?
Yes, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Any other questions for DOT? Go ahead.
If they were able to find a path toward alignment, would you guys be amenable to a traffic light at that intersection? Would you work with them to do a traffic light at that intersection to help?
A traffic light?
If they were able to get all of this in alignment?
I don't believe that they would satisfy the requirements for triggering a street light at this time, but based on the revised design, if one is required based on that design, that is something that we would request at that time.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you. We'll have the applicant back up, please. If you can just address the concerns that were just raised with DOT with respect to what the developer is willing to do.
Yeah. And Mr. Beloin kind of stumbled upon, or I shouldn't say stumbled upon, he kind of figured out exact location of our entrance may change, and the alignment with Ingham Road may change. And so I think my stip letter, what it should say, rather than the way I wrote it, is that we would do the left turn lane unless waived during plan review. And the reason why I say that is because as things change, a left turn lane may not make sense anymore where it makes sense now. And what I don't want is a stipulation that just says left turn lane and then doesn't allow the further engineering that happens. So if you say left turn lane unless waived during plan review or modified during plan review, that would handle that, because there is a good opportunity to actually fix this existing issue while we also do our work. So that, again, breaking down between system improvement and project improvement, that is a system improvement to fix the alignment of Ingham Road. It's a project improvement to do our entrance and how we have to do left turn lanes and right turn lanes. And as you put those left turn lanes in and right turn lanes in, you start conflicting with other things. And I just don't want to prejudge every engineering decision at this level because it's too soon. It needs to be handled through plan review, and we're fine with that. And so I think rather than just not requiring the left turn lane, I think it should say unless waived during plan review. That will allow us to have that dialogue, because as Mr. Beloin kind of figured out, we're definitely looking at how we can potentially work with Ingham Road and actually make this existing issue better.
Does anyone else have any questions for the applicant? Go ahead, Commissioner Beloin.
Thank you. Okay. So you and I seem to have heard different things from the Cobb DOT. See, I would not want that language in a stip letter at all, but maybe that's just me. Let me start with ARPA funds. You have a comment here that they have to be spent by the end of this calendar year. I saw that somewhere in your comments, that ARPA funds are part of this and they need to get spent this calendar year.
Yeah, our ARPA funds are involved, and there is a timeline on spending ARPA funds.
Okay.
And some of those funds might be able to be used to be able to correct an existing traffic issue.
But we're not bumping up to a clock situation where the project has to be complete, or all the roads have to be finalized out before you can get any of that money. There's not a situation like that at
No,
hand here?
we're able to get to the funds as long as we've got the project and the details to be able to, for what needs to be done.
Do you have a minimum lot size here that you're proposing?
Yeah, our minimum lot size is, I want to say 7,000 square feet.
And I think you've indicated that some of your adjoining lots are as small as, 8,000 square feet?
Yeah, the neighborhood, I think the adjacent to us is roughly 10,000, and then the newest development is at Seven Springs, which is developed in Powder Springs under their regulations, and it's 8,000 square foot lots. So we're just 1,000 square foot different from the most recent underdevelopment in the area. And I don't know if you noted, but I do think it's worth noting, all that land on the left is federally owned land, and if someone could tell me what it is, it's kind of interesting.
What do you think? What do you think it is?
My theory, my theory is it's black ops. No, is it has something to do with the landing pattern at Hartsfield. It might be some landing because they stick those further out. But I did a deep dive trying to figure it out. But when you look at this and you see all that land and you think, oh, that's all federally owned land.
You sat out there at night and looked for flying objects and
Yeah.
found none? Okay, good. So, let's see here, okay. I've actually got some okays on some of your comments. Help me out with these, your minor mods. Reduce the size of an approved buffer adjacent to property which is zoned in a more restrictive zoning district. What is it you're trying to accomplish there?
Well, that is the standard language that's been pretty much codified. Is that correct, John? And is that?
It's not codified, but it's used all the time.
Yeah, I mean, this is the language that is pretty accepted. So I wasn't trying to modify what is in most.
Change access location to different roadways?
Yeah.
You're claiming that's also a common step that you've used?
Yeah, it's a common step in the minor modification language. And
What do you mean by seek variances to the provision of the Cobb County zoning ordinance? I mean, is that something where you think, because you worded it this way, the district commissioner can go ahead and grant variances?
well, the minor modifications, paragraph number 10, is designed because when we approve something to a site plan and everything else, and then things shift just a little bit, the staff was getting a lot of like, you have to come back through because something shifts 5 feet or something like that. So actually this language was kind of developed with the staff's involvement on things that are normally picked up during minor modification. So it requires them to look at it and make a judgment call that it's a minor tweak, but it has some parameters. It says that sticking it on a different roadway is not a minor tweak, so that's not something that could be approved.
Where you join R30, where this project would adjoin R30, what buffers or fencing would be provided as part of your plan?
We have adjacent to the R30, 10-foot landscape buffer. And we also have, if you look at our site plan, we have significant setbacks from the R30 too. So we have a lot of open space between us. You can see, like on the north side there, that R30's to the north, but the lots kind of goes in and out where our rear lot lines are straight. So all that land between our rear lot lines and that is open space, and then there's a 10-foot buffer adjacent to the R30.
How many lots would you lose if you were restricted to 8,000 square foot lots?
I don't know the answer to that, but I would ask what's the goal of an 8,000 square foot lot versus 7?
My thought process, just to conform to what the neighbors have, that'd be it in that regard. Same with the buffer, helping to ease the transition with the larger adjoining lots.
I don't know how many we would lose, but I point you to the area that has significant arterial transportation corridors. That's where you put more density.
What would you plan to do with the open space?
It will be it'll be just open space, so buffer areas, natural areas.
No playground or anything like that?
That hasn't been programmed yet, but there will be an amenity area. And we have, you see the centralized location for that parking area that complies with your fire code parking requirements. And adjacent to that, we've got program for, you know, a small recreation area.
Okay, then you say the architectural style and composition to be in substantial conformity to the renderings.
Yep.
Maybe that may also be your typical language, but is there going to be any stipulation regarding siding, things of that nature?
If you would like us to, we can, but the siding is all cementitious siding, some board, but I would caution you against saying like a certain percentage of brick or rock. This is a farmhouse look, which has a cementitious board siding.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question for you. So you're saying these areas that are undeveloped currently in the corners, the lower left side is currently wooded. Do you intend to leave the tree canopy in that space?
Yes, I mean, to the extent that the trees are not, you know, are healthy and such, we will try to leave as many trees as possible. It helps us and it helps our neighbors.
Okay. And your new stormwater management park, or your stormwater management area, currently you're showing, what, 4 houses where the current, Stancil Pond is? So has that been studied to make sure that that's the proper place to put that retention pond, and that the stream that's feeding that pond to the pond in the neighboring community, we're not going to have any issues down the line?
It has been determined that that's the proper location. It has not been sized yet, and that will come through with full hydrology study, and so it will meet your requirements, but that's a very extensive analysis. But the location, it has been approved by the engineer.
Okay. And then in your amenity area, are we doing fencing in some ways to manage the homeowners who will be bordering it? So we're going to provide separation and fencing, and it's going to be pretty. And
Yeah.
you have an HOA?
Yes, it will be a HOA covenanted community, which will control common areas and the natural areas that we mentioned, the pocket park that we mentioned, that will all be controlled by the homeowners association, maintained by the homeowners association. And the homeowners association will also maintain covenants that will control architectural controls.
Okay. Those are my questions.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone else have any questions for the applicant? All right, thank you so much, Mr. Parks. I am prepared to make my motion, but before I make a motion, I do want to emphasize how I think it's really amazing that we're coming up with creative solutions for housing. I do think that it is an ongoing issue that I'm happy to see that there's some creativity behind how we can create some additional housing options. I also will say that new construction never does bring down property value, and that there can be different subdivision types amongst different subdivision types that don't draw or take value from others. So I'm not concerned necessarily about valuation from the nearby neighbors. I think that they actually will see an increase in valuation. So in long, my motion would be to approve Z8 and provide that the applicant work with planning, zoning, DOT to ensure all concerns for traffic and staff comments in planning are considered and taken to heart, so that we can make sure that it is a safe, is safe for everyone after construction.
Can I second for discussion? I would want to see that the stipulation letter be modified to make sure that that left-hand lane is, if not enforced, at least only the ability to be waived. I think it's necessary.
I agree with that, so I'll amend my motion. Is there any other comments or concerns before?
Same, I would just require the deletion of the Just end number 7 with the words staff analysis, because I think staff was very clear, and I think it's, especially in that curve, I think it's going to be very necessary to have a left turn lane.
Absolutely. So I'll amend my motion to approve Z8 with the stipulation letter updated from the applicant and with clear direction from county staff, Department of Transportation, and planning to ensure all provisions are made for an appropriate build. And that the left turn lane is mandatory to be taken care of at the responsibility of the applicant.
Is there a second?
I second.
Any further discussion? Call the question. Motion passes 4-0. Does that conclude our regular agenda? Okay, and I think that we have some minutes that we need to consider at this time.
I make a motion that we approve all applicable minutes.
Is there a second?
Second. As
Okay.
directed.
Call the question. Motion passes 4-0. Thank you, and with that, we are adjourned. Thank you very much.